So you're doing your research, you're thinking about moving out to San Diego, you're dialing neighborhoods, you're looking at things you can do if you're living out here. There's a couple of things that people don't tell you, and we're gonna get into those 5 things today. Just some things that you might not know about living out here.
As always, thanks for tuning in. We love making these videos for you, but we are also real estate agents right here in North County, San Diego. So if you are thinking about moving out here, feel free to hit us up. That number is popping up right now. Call, text, email, we got your back when moving here to San Diego. I'm Chris Erickson.
And I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And we're with the Beach Life Group. That's our crew right here in North County, San Diego. So let's get into 5 things you need to know when moving out here. So obviously, San Diego, beautiful weather a lot of the time. You probably heard that in past videos or seen that. Obviously, it's San Diego, nonetheless. Anything online, you got the beaches, you have things to do. But one thing you might not know is there are a ton of events right here in San Diego throughout everywhere. Just last weekend over in Carlsbad, they had their yearly music festival. There is Guild Fest. Right now we're in San Diego Beard Week. So they do have an event they put on every year. This year it was over in Del Mar. Go there, sample a ton of different beers. But basically there's something going on every single week and kind of find something that you want to do. Our buddies just went down to Petco Park. Elton John was playing at Petco. So not only did the Padres play down there, but you have some killer concerts down there. It's a really good venue just for all that stuff. So in the off season, you will find some concerts and other style events down at Petco Park. Comic-Con, obviously a huge one.
And you do have some other music venues here locally as well. You've got at San Diego State, you've got a spot for kind of bigger artists, same with the sports arena. And then there's some smaller spots kind of sprinkled around town. Specifically for us in North County, we have Belly Up, which is a great little spot for kind of smaller artists, but it's a really, really cool venue that you got to check out if you live in here.
And we just covered on our podcast one thing that's coming to Del Mar. So the Del Mar Fairgrounds is a huge place for events throughout the year. You have the horse racing, you have the San Diego County Fair, but also they have something called the Sound, which is another smaller music venue right there that they're going to have concerts throughout the year. I think they're going to have about 60 different events through the year. Also within every city, within every neighborhood, or within mostly every city, they have like Taste of. So Taste of Encinitas, Taste of Carlsbad, Taste of Cardiff, you know, where you kind of go to these events, you cruise around the downtown areas, you sample a lot of different style foods from all these little restaurants. They have drink samples as well. So that's kind of a yearly event, street fairs, street festivals, all that kind of stuff. We just actually went to the Miramar Air Show, which I haven't been in my entire life living here, but that was a killer event too. That's a yearly thing. So anyways, as far as events, there is a lot to do. You can find what, you know, what's your style, what you're digging, kind of anytime throughout the year. And so obviously San Diego, we got great weather year round. You wouldn't think it gets too cold, but a lot of people coming from even cold places that move here, you are gonna get cold when it gets to like 65 degrees. For some reason, I don't know if your body changes, I don't know if you just adapt that way, but a lot of people who I know, my wife is from New Jersey, she's like super cold all the time. My buddy's from Philadelphia, he moved out here, now he's got that San Diego blood, and so you get colder a little bit, you know, a little bit quicker than you think you would. You might not adjust. There's one, my dad doesn't still, he still gets hot, he runs hot. But nonetheless, once you get out here, when it does get under 70, 68, what do you think?
Yeah, 68, 67.
Yeah, that's when it gets cold here in San Diego. So don't throw away all your jackets. Be sure to save a few. And then on another note too, the water here gets super cold. So we will have a few months in the summertime where it gets decently warm, the ocean. So if you're going swimming, surfing, going to enjoy the beach, you might be able to wear your trunks. I wear a wetsuit basically year round just because it gets a little, I mean, it's cold for me for sure. So I'm wearing a 3-2 wetsuit basically through the entire year, even through the summertime, and just something to be aware of. Don't expect it to be that tropical waters right here in San Diego.
What does this cold mean? It means that actually in your house potentially it gets cold. We have heaters, everybody's got heaters here in San Diego, but rarely use them. I think we maybe use ours once or twice a year. Even when it's cold, we just seem to put layers on and put socks on or whatever. But the other strange thing about San Diego, since it's such a warm temperature usually, most houses have fireplaces. So a lot of people will just kind of use that fireplace as the way to warm the one room you're in. And then just not use the heater throughout the year.
And I would say a lot of people have the fireplaces, but they don't use them. A lot of people, like, well, I have a wood fireplace. Is yours gas or wood? Wood fire. A lot of people have just gas fireplaces, so it's just a little simple turn and you kick it on wood. It's going to take a little bit longer, obviously build it up. But yeah, I think in our entire time living at my house, we probably used it maybe less than a dozen times, but it is an option and it's cool. You get some ambiance and stuff. It's fun to kick on, but for how warm San Diego is, it's just funny how many fireplaces there are right here.
Obviously, San Diego is a tourist destination. A lot of people come here to go to Legoland, to check out the beaches, just get that San Diego feel. But we also, as locals here, do a ton of staycations, either locally within San Diego, like we love going to Omni La Costa Resort in Carlsbad. Great spot for staycation. They got great pools, they got slides. The hotel is great too, with an awesome restaurant. There's also just a little more inland. You've got the lake house in San Marcos, which is a great little spot in Lake San Marcos. Right along the lake, you can rent boats. They've got pools as well, and a great restaurant right on the lake as well to check out. So that's a great spot for a staycation. If you want to get a little further away from North County, obviously you've got downtown and all those bay spots to check out, but then also one of our favorites is Coronado. A ton of great things to check out there. It feels completely different than most of San Diego. It's kind of an island, not really, it's a peninsula, but there's great cycling, there's great restaurants, the beach is great there. So that is a great spot for staycation as well.
And one thing we just did, we went up to Palomar Mountain, which is a mountain right here in San Diego County. There will get snow and stuff up there during the winter times. I think it's like 4,000 or 5,000 feet high. Not exactly sure, but they have a killer little campground that they converted some old cabins. So I wouldn't call it camping. You're staying in a cabin, but it has all the kind of amenities of camping, like fishing spot, little hiking trails, and you're in the mountains, so it's killer. It's called Bailey's on Palomar. They have a bunch of like newer yurt styles. They have some like teepee styles. They have this old cabin that we stayed at, and it's really awesome. But San Diego as a whole, like we vacation right here in San Diego. Even though we live here, it's pretty rad to explore these new spots and kind of, check out different parts of San Diego.
I mentioned also earlier Legoland. Legoland is a spot where Chris's family has done it. We know a lot of friends that have done it. They have 2 hotels there. So a lot of folks will go and stay for a couple nights, get to check out Legoland in a little more depth than if you're just going for a day. So that's definitely an option. And then also, Chris mentioned Palomar Mountain for camping and glamping. There are more campsites up there in Palomar Mountain, but then from here, you can get to a ton of spots in just a couple hours. You've got beach camping in Cardiff and Carlsbad. So there's a ton of that if camping is kind of the way you want to go.
And one benefit of staycationing at Legoland, they let you in the park a little bit early. So if you're staying in one of the hotels, you get in, it's like a half hour or hour early to kind of explore. Not everything's open, but you will get to check out some rides kind of before the public is welcome in there. Another thing about San Diego is the amount of fresh food we have here. There are a ton of local farms in San Diego, in cities, in all the cities. Encinitas has farms, Carlsbad has farms, San Marcos, Vista, like all these places have farms within the cities. And then also on the outskirts, there's some bigger farms. Avocados are a pretty big product. I actually just read that avocados are like not in the top 10 as far as produce right here. Even in Rancho Santa Fe, one of the most expensive neighborhoods right here in North County, San Diego, they have farms just sitting in the middle of Rancho Santa Fe, which is pretty killer, which means a lot of fresh food, a lot of these farmers markets every weekend. Lucadia Farmers Market is awesome. Cruise around, get some local food. They have all kinds of stuff, fresh fish, fresh chicken, fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff that are people making bread and all that kind of stuff. And there are a few farm stands just set up throughout San Diego. Right off Del Dios Highway, there's one kind of out there. There's actually some really good fresh dipped strawberries out there. And then off La Costa, they claim the best salsa in the world on their sign right there. So right off La Costa, is it best salsa, right? Or is it best guac?
I don't know.
It's one of those two. Anyways, that's what they're claiming right there. That's really good anyway. So you go check that out too. And then just cruising around like through different neighborhoods on random different highways, you might see somebody sitting on the side of the road selling some fresh oranges, some avocados, a few different other little produce items where you could pull over and it's like, the value there is great. Avocados are super expensive, but you get them there like a dozen for like $5 or something. So they sell them pretty cheap right there on those roadside stands.
One of the other things too, obviously we're right on the ocean, so seafood is a huge thing here. We have spiny lobster season here in San Diego, so you can definitely get some fresh local lobster during that season. And then also there's a lot of restaurants that really kind of make sure they're getting fresh fish, and that means even going out and fishing themselves. Fish 101, which is in Cardiff and in Lucadia, they have 2 locations, is one of those spots where they go out and they actually get mahi-mahi, and they get fresh ahi, and they get fresh fish, and you can get it pretty much the next day.
And if you like fish, make friends with somebody who goes fishing. Well, a guy on our softball team, he goes fishing, and just after the game one day, just threw me like a few pounds of fresh tuna, got a fresh mahi-mahi, made some fish tacos. It was killer. And these guys are going out all the time, catching fish right off our shores. And with all this fresh food and fresh produce and fresh fish and fresh kind of everything, go to a farmer's market, load up, They also have farm boxes too. So if you want something delivered to your house, CSA boxes that they pack them in there, they're pretty affordable. There's a few different farms around North County here that will deliver them to your house weekly, whatever. You could kind of order them as you want. But with all that comes a lot of delicious meals. I love cooking at home. So kind of putting together all these ingredients and making some really good food at home. So if you're, you like cooking at home, you like doing your own thing. Obviously all the restaurants, there's a lot of restaurants that provide local flavor, that use local ingredients and organic and all that kind of stuff. But also at home, you have that ability with all the fresh food we have.
Another thing that we've noticed over the last couple of years is, does anyone work here in San Diego? And really, we're out and about a lot. We're, in neighborhoods, we're showing houses, we're out meeting clients for coffee or for a beer. And it seems like there's a lot of people around when we're doing that. So we always just kind of joke about that. It is a community where there's a lot of flexibility in work. I mean, a lot of people are moving here because they can work virtually, which means they can go to lunch or they can go out and take a run at noon, in the middle of their workday. So you do see a ton of people out and about on a daily basis. It's not just like during the summer when tourism's here. It does obviously increase during those summer months, but it's kind of year round. You've got a lot of people out and about checking out spots locally here. So,
and with the jobs, with the flexibility, there's a lot of people who own their own businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of these businesses that do have flexible schedules at tech companies. And there's a lot of that around here too, where maybe you are not completely remote, but you're like 2 or 3 days in the office and then 2 or 3 days where, at coffee shops and out and about. So there is a lot of that going on here. Even in the ocean, if you see any good surf, there's obviously a ton of surfers here in San Diego, but like anytime there's some good waves in the water, the ocean's packed. No matter what time of day it is, really, like you'll see a lot of people out there. Another thing too, it seems like Fridays do end a little earlier. Traffic gets a little bit worse a little earlier, so that rush hour moves up. A lot of, it's not really half day Fridays, but it kind of feels like everybody's got a half day on Friday where, we meet our buddies go have a beer at the local tap room, at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Maybe it's a meeting too, but it's a good time to kind of wind down, go enjoy some friends out and about. But yeah, there is, obviously people do work. We work hard here, but they also enjoy all that San Diego has to offer. So if you guys are thinking about moving out here, you got questions, just as a quick reminder, we are real estate agents right here in North County, San Diego. So the number is popping up right now. Hit us up, call, text, email. We got your back when moving in and around North County, San Diego.